We have gone through the 2017 hurricane season, are beginning the 2018 hurricane season, and are still looking to ways in which not just to recover, but to begin the rebuilding. As some of you are probably unaware, for this entire school year, children in the Virgin Islands have operated on a 4-hour shift system because so many of our public schools were compromised, so that children had to share facilities and only participated in school curricular activities for 4 hours during the day. Most of our dialysis and inpatient individuals are still off island because our hospitals have been compromised so much from the hurricane that they have been unable to be at home for those services. But I want to thank FEMA and the Army Corps, Coast Guard, and so many other federal agencies that were there on the ground and are providing assistance. I know that this action report really provides a blueprint on how to have improvements and make things better, and I'm trusting that FEMA and the other agencies are really taking those things to heart. You know, the sign of maturity is recognizing when you have done things wrong and learning from them and just moving forward. But one of the things I wanted to ask these individuals about in particular were some of the issues that we still have. On April 20th, we sent a letter to Administrator Brock Long, which I'd ask unanimous consent to submit into the record. This letter has been signed not only by myself, but also the chair of this committee, Bill Schuster, and others, requesting support of some of the issues that we have. Without objection, can that be admitted into the record?
Yes, it may.
Thank you. One of the things we're concerned about that I'd like to bring to your attention, Mr. Byard, as well as Mr. Alexander, if you can assist in answering this question, is with regard to debris removal. The U.S. Army Corps is working under FEMA mission assignment to remove all of the vegetative, C&D, and marine debris from the territory. This work will be completed in September. However, large stockpiles of debris remaining with hurricane season almost upon us again is very concerning. I know that there's been some discussion about bidding this out and ensuring where it can be kept. We were given an extension of the local share on this, but due to the Army Corps, a bid protest that was done to the Army Corps, which they believe will be overcome, debris will not be removed until the end of December. If no extension that long, the government of the Virgin Islands will be hit with a 10% local cost share. So my question is, Mr. Byard, will FEMA support 100% federal share extension since the delay is not in control of the government of the Virgin Islands?
Man, that's a good question. As you know, debris's been a difficult task in the Virgin Islands. I was down probably a month or so back, and you're right, there's still a lot of work to do there. What we will do is definitely work with the governor, and once and if we've received a request, I don't want to sound ignorant to that. It'll be working itself up. If we've not received a request, I will be definitely looking on that. I spoke to Bill Vogel yesterday, the FCO Federal Coordinating Officer,
right.
And I spoke to also Mike Byrne, who will be going over to work.
So you'll work with the governor and try and do that if it's necessary, because this is outside of our control, and of course, any cost share for us is
yes,
really a great burden.
Yes,
the second question I have is with regard to the STEP program. The STEP program is one which can be supportive of individuals. This is the program that allows temporary repair of homes in the Virgin Islands. I know that there was some back and forth with regard to the STEP program because the limit initially for the STEP program was $20,000. However, the Blue Roof program, we know, ran an average of about $25,000 per roof. We understand that that has been increased. The STEP is now at $25,000. I know that the governor of the Virgin Islands has a request in for $35,000 per home. Are you willing to support that request at this time?
Well, what I do know is that we've authorized the use of the STEP program for any home in the territory with a blue roof. So
okay, and would that include, there's one thing that's really important to us. You did allow, the STEP was used for rental properties in New York City after Hurricane Sandy.
Yes, ma'am.
But to date, you have refused to allow that for low-income renters in the Virgin Islands, and some of those do, in fact, have blue roofs on them. Will you be willing to reconsider that?
What I would like to do is get back to you, Representative, and the reason I say that is we have the multi-lease repair program under the Individual Assistance Program. I would like to see if we can, where that program is when it deals with multi-family facilities and also the steps. So I'll have my staff definitely take that for action, and if it's okay with you to get back with you, because I want to make sure I give you a comprehensive answer on that.
Well, I've run out of time, but since you've said you're going to get back with me on the record, I'm going to hold you to
Please.
coming to my office.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been difficult to get FEMA. Bill Vogel has been really good about being there on the ground and answering any questions that we have, but I've had a little difficulty in getting individuals from here at headquarters to come into my office and have conversations. I know we all have the same interest in mind, and I'm not trying to be, the bad guy all the time. I really do want to see how we can work together and make this better, particularly as we're preparing people in the Virgin Islands for this new hurricane season.
Well,
And also, I know my time is out, but Mr. Alexander, I want to thank the Army Corps of Engineers for really extending themselves and committing to having biweekly meetings with me, giving me an update of what they're doing. That's been really helpful, and I'm very happy for the cooperation and the relationship that our office has with them. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Plaskett. Mr. Gallagher?
Thank you. I apologize for being late. I hope we're not going to rehash ground or go over ground that's already been tread. But in FEMA's after-action report, this is a question for Mr. Byard, of the 2017 hurricane season released last week, the delivery of food and commodities to Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands was recognized as a major challenge due to staffing shortages and logistical failures. Could you explain what happened with regards to commodities in 2017 and what adjustments you have made in 2018, particularly to address the potential needs of the territories should there be another hurricane?
Yes, sir. Be happy to. So your first question was, the 2017 issue. So, and again, as we pointed out in the report, all of our national planning, all the deliberate planning we do is built around, a three-legged stool, if you will. You have local, you have state, and you have federal government support, specifically when you talk about logistical movements of commodities. What we quickly found in the Commonwealth is two of those legs were not there. And I don't mean that to be disparaging. What I mean is, we had a lot of impacted first responders were survivors on the Commonwealth. So we had the ability to get the commodities too, and there were commodities always on the island. We accomplished that. It was taking it from the port, for example, and getting it out to the more difficult terrain municipalities. We did incident action, crisis action planning on the ground. You always do that to assess the needs, task organize, and move out. That was accomplished. So what are we doing in 2018? As I mentioned earlier, one of our targeted hiring initiatives is in our logistics. Everything we do is about logistics. And so we are hiring more teams or more individuals that will staff teams called incident support teams that we can send downrange to further expand our footprint for the last mile logistics. Now, currently, in the Caribbean, we have about 4,600 staff, FEMA staff, that are doing the recovery mission. They're dual trained to do response. So we have staff in each municipality. We have communications, satellites communication in each municipality. We have backup generators already installed in critical facilities to include communication towers. We've also done logistical exercises where we had one warehouse going into 2017. We have 5 on island now. Where we had thousands of commodities and maybe in water and MRAs, we have millions now. We've also done exercises with the municipalities where we actually moved commodities from the distribution centers out into the more rural or difficult terrain municipalities. We did that to exercise the movement, but we didn't take the commodities back. They're safe, secured, and stored. So we are well positioned from that standpoint in 2018 than we were in 2017.
I appreciate that. Administrator Paulson, you have extensive experience as a firefighter and a former U.S. Fire Administrator. What do you think is the most important thing we can do as a nation to curb